Want to talk about some comments that Triple H made after SummerSlam Night 2. You know, there's no more pressers. There's post shows now. We talked about this. Not rehashing that aspect. But during this post show, Triple H, post show SummerSlam Night 2, he was asked about Brock Lesnar's return and how they finagled that. And this is what he had to say. This is the exact quote right here that we were looking for. This is John Cena's wish list. John Cena's, it's him writing the last chapter of his book. And I think people saw a conversation with us where he said we'd have to screw it up pretty badly to ruin his career. But it's not about that for me. It's about John being able to go out the way he wants to go out to write his chapter. Now, everyone who saw this, myself, probably you as well, you A+ audience to this D-List podcast, you probably saw this and said, oh, there we go again. Our old Triple H here deflecting blame once more. He doesn't want to take responsibility for what's going on here. He knows that they fucked up, that this was contentious. So he doesn't want the heat. Triple H will take all of the good stuff. He'll go out at the start of a show and get a massive pop. He will say all the great things are about him. Look, he's so great, such a great guy, and he opens himself up so much that he even created a television show on Netflix where you can watch him just be the greatest booker of all time. Opened himself up, bare bones. So Brock coming back? Well, hey, John wanted this. John wanted to fight Brock Lesnar in his last year. And we all knew. When I say we, of course, we knew that this was full of shit. Because at the very least, not Brock Lesnar, but Triple H is the head of creative, so he has to okay this. At the very least, he has to be, okay. He's giving us the impression that all these guys and gals, they just, they don't really have a say. The Rock coming in and, doing his stuff is like, the Rock came in and messed up all his plans. But aren't you in charge, Paul? At WrestleMania, The Rock, he threw a monkey wrench into everything 2 years in a row. But aren't you in charge, Paul? Aren't you the boss of creative? Aren't you putting these shows together? Anyway, went off track here. John Cena, yesterday, 2 days ago, he was doing a little interview here. He was he was doing a little interview on Adam's Apple podcast or show or whatever. I never heard of that. Maybe this is another sports thing that people are like, oh, well, of course, Warren. I don't know who these people are. And the interviewer, Adam Glynn, talked about him wanting to about Lesnar returning to WWE. Cena said, quote, "I've been saying the same thing for 25 years. They deal him, I play him." Well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that just interesting? It may seem innocuous, right? But doesn't this sound to you, John Cena rebuffing what Paul Levesque said? Is like, nah, man, they just tell me who to fight and I'll fight them. Now, I'm gonna call a certain amount of bullshit on this, okay? Because a guy like John Cena, especially when Vince was around, I mean, Vince is no longer around, but, especially when Vince was around, a guy like Cena did sort of have an opportunity to call his shots. I think there's a reason why John Cena, it was that John Cena didn't put anyone of the Nexus over, that he ended up plowing through him. Was it all really just a Vince thing, or was it, maybe John is like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not jobbing to Husky Harris. I'm not jobbing to Bad News Guy. I'm not doing any of this. I'm not doing that. A well-placed, that doesn't work for me, brother, can do wonders. So, there's a certain amount of bullshit that I have to call on when he said, 25 years, they line him up, I knock him down? Sure. Maybe. And there's probably guys that Cena's fought that he felt he should do, but, didn't want to lose to or whatever. But this is not John Cena from 2012, 2008. This is not ruthless aggression John Cena. This is not, a hustle, loyalty, respect Cena. This is not support the troops Cena. This is none of these Cenas. Because our John Cena that we have now in 2025 is a Hollywood movie star. He's in Hollywood now. And he's doing well. He's got all these little projects. And he's in the freshly rebooted DC universe. His Peacemaker gimmick hasn't been thrown to the trash. He's pals with James Gunn, who is overseeing the DCU. What the fuck does he have to do with any of this? He's doing his last tour for WWE. I'm sure he's getting a nice amount of money to do it. Sure. He's going around, he's doing his thing. The whole heel turn, the whole heel turn happens. Look, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there is no way in hell John Cena is accepting, is doing a heel turn where he's like, yep, let's do it. There's no way. There's no way. But now he doesn't care. He doesn't care because he's got bigger fish to fry than Paul Levesque coming out with his little problematic company, trotting out his problematic wrestlers and saying, John Cena asked for this. John Cena gonna, no. He just backhandedly says no, because he's got other, in a week or so, he's going to be on a media tour promoting Peacemaker, which is going to be even more watched after the success of the Superman thing. People are going to be watching Peacemaker much more this year because they want to see how all this ties in. Because James Gunn said that the Peacemaker is going to have, he's going to be a crucial part of this reboot. So people are excited. People are into it. And I like Peacemaker. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a funny show. It was good. It was funny. I enjoyed it. I'm excited for season 2. You think he's got time for this? You think he gives a shit about this? Doesn't care about pro wrestling anymore. It's a nice little way to get some money. Yes, he's saying goodbye to the fans. I'm sure, I don't want to give I think this is a guy who does want to end his career properly and go off into the sunset and basically say, stop expecting me to show up. I'm retired kind of thing. I want to do movies. I want to participate in film where I get paid so much more money and my body is put through so much less duress than being a pro wrestler. So Triple H can come out and say, oh yeah, John Cena wanted this. John Cena's like, okay, yeah. They lined him up for me. They dealt him. I'll play him. I think it's fascinating. Because here's the thing, and we talk about this often when we dress down Paul Levesque, and here we go again. Paul needs a shield. He needs something to deflect the criticism on. He needs this. If it's not Dwayne The Rock, it's his bosses at TKO, his faceless bosses at TKO, right? I even saw people saying, oh, it's TKO that forced Paul Levesque to go to the White House for the health gimmick late last week. Couldn't help but laugh. It's not Paul Levesque who's going to be cutting people. He doesn't fire people. It's TKO. We've explained this. We'll probably have to explain it all over again in a couple of days because I feel my gut says there's going to be WWE cuts coming up probably even tomorrow. That's just my gut. Just my gut, because we've had an earnings call. There's a couple of signs in there, SmackDown is 1 hour less than they thought it was going to be. They have a full hour weekly, 1 less hour weekly on their inventory. I think there's some cuts coming up. So again, we're going to put up the shields. Oh, it's TKO making the cuts. No, it's Paul. It's WWE, not TKO. Paul always needs the shields. So now he was putting one up. It was going to be John Cena. It's John Cena who was throwing under the bus. Hey, listen, if you're not happy with Brock Lesnar, John Cena is the guy you should be talking to, right? He's the guy who wanted it. So I'm like, all I could do was oblige. I mean, it's John Cena looking to wrap up his career in the best way possible. I'm just a facilitator. Pick a lane, Trips. Either you are, a bigwig decision maker in this company, or you're just a middleman serving the whims of your talent. You can't have it both ways. You really fucking can't have it both ways. So he tried to do the deflection onto Cena, and Cena very casually just goes, no. Now, one of them's telling the truth, and I have a tendency to think that it's the guy who has no real ties left with WWE, that everything that he used to know about WWE is gone. Vince and the structure that Vince had, it's gone. It's another place. I don't think he feels all that invested. I think it's that guy, as opposed to the other guy who has a track record, an observable track record of throwing people under the bus so that he can avoid taking criticism. Because he is soft as Charmin, baby. A big man, a big, powerful man, juiced up man, strong man, soft as a cloud, as a soft snowfall in December. Again, I cannot believe. It is fascinating to me that these people in these immense positions, these people making so much cash, so much money, are at the same time so incredibly soft. Do not forget, this is a guy who preferred to say post-match pressers are finished on the night that Brock Lesnar returned because he was too afraid to receive questions from the WWE press corps, which is made up of influencers and fans who already ask him the softest questions in the world. He was too afraid, too craven to stand in front of those people, those softball questions. What up, legend? How does it feel to run 2 SummerSlams in a row? Those types of questions. He was afraid to even stand in front of those people and get maybe a slightly curveball question. He had to go sit nice and quiet with Rosenberg and Big E and say, well, here's I gotta wash my hands of this. This is this Brock stuff. It's Cena. Cena wanted to do that. It's not on me, folks. I wish I could have done something. If only I could have done something. If only I was in a position where I could have said, no, this is bad. But no, look, I got washing my hands. It's all done. What can I do? He's back. Cena wanted it. It's out of my hands. And then this is a guy who will come out and take credit for everything. Again, he cannot have it both ways. Can't have the cake and eat it too. He has to pick a lane. Either you are the leader, the top guy that you say you are, or you are just the fucking middle manager. It's incredible the amount of disdain I have developed for Triple H over the past year. But it's actually phenomenal. I myself am sort of taken aback where I'm like, this guy has never been like someone I zero into this hard that I try to dress down. I've never, I've poked fun, but now it's like, now this guy, he's so empty and hypocritical and devoid of anything real to offer. And creating such a subpar product at the same time, something that is completely devoid of feeling, of authenticity, the most plastic, phony, fake product you could actually fathom. He's devising it, and he's coming out and trying to get praise for it all. He's pretending so much, and it's infuriating that people can't see it. That they can't see that behind all the bluster, there is nothing. There's just a void, a man devoid of ideas, of real creative juices, who's more intent in putting himself over, of him being the top guy of the company. I can't believe I'm talking about this again. Which again is fascinating. Because I have not been this invested in dressing this man down ever. Because I felt like everyone saw right through Triple H. I really did. That everyone saw right through him. 25 years cosplaying as a top guy. I thought everyone saw through this. Clearly not.